Hi, everyone. I
Hello
see there's
there.
more people in here. I'm just going to admit everybody. Hey guys, my name is Enos. I see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So thanks to everybody for joining. I haven't done one of these in a little while, so bear with me as I kind of go through the process. Can everybody hear me before we get in? Let me know either in the chat or you should be able to mute and unmute yourself by clicking on these boxes up the top. So good, awesome. All right, perfect. So I've been in Fortune Builders for about 5 years. My husband and I joined in 2013, just to kind of give you a little bit about me. We started our business right off the bat. He was working full-time. I was a stay-at-home mom with 3 little boys. 5 years later, we have a pretty good steady business. We've developed it into a couple of different areas. I have a brokerage. It's just me, but it's just like how I like it. He now has a partner. They're growing. They have employees. So we'll probably do about 30 different houses this year. So we do quite a bit of volume. I guess everybody has had some trouble with getting some deals. I'm going to want you guys to let me know kind of what your biggest problems were. I did read the thread, and it sounds like you're just having problems getting your offers accepted. I wanted to show you guys the MLS offer system, which we basically adapted from the Fortune Builders Fortune Builder system. So it's going to go over that, what we do, how we do it, some of our negotiating I guess, tricks up our sleeves and what we use. But I'd love to know kind of feedback from you guys, what you're experiencing in your market, and then I'll be able to try and answer some of your questions or help you with the challenges that you're having. So let me know either by unmuting yourself and popping on, or just chatting in the box.
Hello, everybody. My name is John. I joined Fortune Builders in July. And my biggest hurdle has been that here in Austin, people are overpaying 2, 3, 4 times, which is insane, for properties that I know probably that it's not worth $90,000, and you got to put another $100,000 because it's a complete teardown. So I'm having a lot of problems dealing with that because I always enter into multiple situations, and I know that the deal analyzer says how much money you can offer. So once I put in my offer, I'm out. The second problem is the cost of money. It's so expensive that I know that other people are actually getting in higher than I am when I put an offer because they don't have to pay for that financing part, the part of the loan. And that's usually, $25,000, $40,000 in a loan, because you end up buying a property at $400,000 and you've got to put $100,000 into fixing it. And then you have to list it, pay all your commissions. So it's really, really hard.
Right. So we'll touch on all of those things, and I'll let you guys know how we do it and what we do. So I got to figure out how to share my screen. Give me 1 second. There it is, share. So I'm just going to share my whole desktop with you guys. Let me know if you can see this. So I put together a really a quick presentation of what our MLS offer system looks like, and kind of hitting everything on high level. And I'll go over what our MLS tracker is, why we do what we do. And I've analyzed some of the houses we bought, and I actually did this a while ago, so I'll go over that as well. So for the MLS, why the MLS? It's a consistent lead flow for motivated sellers. They're on there, and I know that they're already with agents. So there's ways that you guys can get around that, and you can set yourself up for success. You're also getting lists of agents who are in your target market and agents who are doing deals. So you want to know who these people are so you can make friends with them. The other reason why the MLS is so important is you get up-to-date market data. It's better than anything else. So you need access to the MLS if you're looking to be a fix and flipper or an active real estate investor that does this part full-time. you need MLS access, which basically takes me into my next bit. Why do we use the MLS offer system? Again, it's to acquire properties and network with agents and build relationships. So what do you have to do? You need to get licensed. Nobody wants to hear this, and nobody tells you this when you're getting started. If you're looking to be a full-time real estate investor, you really need to get licensed, or somebody on your team in your business needs to be licensed. I've got somebody else hopping on. Can you get access to? Sure, yeah, that's not a problem. I can share this with you guys. I'll just have you guys maybe on Facebook Messenger send me your email addresses so I can send this over to you. I'll share whatever we have. I mean, everything we have, we've learned through Fortune Builders, and we've just adapted it to our business. We've grown from going from 2 to 3 houses a year to 30. So the best piece of advice that I can give you if you are wanting to be a fix and flipper is get licensed. Just get licensed. Get yourself a lofty goal. Get licensed in 2 weeks. I know it sounds crazy. I did it in one week. And I'm going to tell you my story. I started this licensing course that you have to get like 365 hours of online education before you can get your license. And I started, and for about 6 months, I got through two sections of this course, and I couldn't get anywhere because I would do an hour of studying and then I would take care of my kids. And I mean, it was crazy. I had 3 kids and they were 5 and under. It was insane. And I couldn't remember the next day what I studied the day before. So I spent a lot of times going back, and it was crazy. So anyhow, we were supposed to go on vacation to visit our family. I told my husband, take the kids, I'm staying home, I'm going to do this. And in a week, I went through the first 2 sections plus the next 6 section. I passed the real estate license exam. I found a brokerage, all of it, because I literally, that's all I did. I would get up in the morning and I would study like I was cramming for freaking college exams. And I did it like around the clock, but I did it. And once I got licensed, our business took off. Why should you get licensed? You get MLS access. It sets you apart from everybody else out there who doesn't have their license. It gives you the ability to run your comps, better comps. The money portion is insane. So when you start out in your business, you're not doing 10, 20 deals, but every bit counts. So you're able to give up your commission to make the deal work. John, you said you're having a bit of an issue with these guys can offer more. They're not paying as much on your money. Well, if you're licensed and now you have 2.5, 2.5%, that you can play with, that you can add to your offer, or you can say, hey, I'm not taking a commission. Your offer stands out more. So there's definitely there's so much benefit. I in 5 years that we've done this, there hasn't been any real deterrent to having my license, but there has been a deterrent, and I'm going to be right off and honest with you guys. The deterrent was in my head. I felt initially when we started our business that, hey, because I'm licensed, there's something going on here. Agents look at me differently and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff was in my head, and I had to get through that mental block, just like we all have different mental blocks. So you might have something come up for you, but it's not when it comes down to pros and cons, we've saved hundreds and thousands of dollars by having a license in our business. So once you are licensed, you basically are setting yourself apart from other investors. And there's going to be other investors in your market that have their licenses, so you're kind of on the level playing field with them, but you're setting yourself apart from the general public. You're also able to, the other step that I want you guys to think about is you need to really analyze your market and pick the area that you want to work in if you don't have that already. So you have a better idea of how to analyze or what your deals are going to be looking like. When you have a system, so our system is very time time heavy. We spend 2 to 3 hours every single day in the MLS. But for anybody that's starting out, you have to have a consistent schedule. So whether that's an hour once a day or 2 hours a week, you have to have a consistent schedule. So you're going to have to time block that and run your MLS searches. What we look at is we look at back on markets, we look at expired, withdrawals, and price decreases, as you can see them right in here. So those are the things that we look at every single day, and we have our searchers set up. So we, in our business right now, we have our marketing person that does that every single day for a couple of hours. She puts them into our MLS offer tracker, and that when she's done, that gets sent out to our, to Mark, who basically oversees all of the acquisitions. He goes through and sees what's the deal he likes, what's the deal he doesn't like. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what the offer tracker looks like right now. So this is, again, straight from Fortune Builders. We probably added a couple of different things, and we have our own little color coordinator here. But we have the agent name and contact number because that's easy for me to be able to call them, what the address is, any specific information about it, what's the list price, what's our offer, how many in repairs, what's the ARV, comps, what's the profit, all that good stuff is all written in here. And I'm going to tell you, majority of these things that we are going to be writing offers, we're not going to get. And I'm going to submit an offer 5, 10 different times for us to get it. So you have to be consistent, and you have to be persistent. You also have to be confident. That's one of the things that I think as newer investors, we don't have the confidence, and we think just because somebody is offering higher than us, we're just like, we're done. No, you have to keep at them, and you have to keep providing them value. The agents, I'm talking to agents, or I'm talking about agents. You have to provide agents value because these houses are going to fall out of contract, and they're going to look to you to basically solve their problem long term. So this is what it looks like for us. So Mark and our assistant, Nikki, they'll be in here very heavily looking and trying to analyze the different deals. And then once Mark's ready to write an offer, he'll email me and he'll tell me, hey, I want you to look at this and this and this and write these offers. So I take over at that point because because I'm the licensed agent, and they just kind of do the first bit of it. Now, the other part that I didn't mention before is once Nikki, our assistant, identifies a property that's a potential property for us, she calls the listing agent and just introduces herself and introduces our company, or Colorado House Buyers, to let them know that we're interested and to find out as much information as she can. There's a two-piece to this. She wants to obviously get as much information as she can about the property. Then the other piece is she's really looking for them to network with that agent and find out if there's other properties that they have that fit our criteria. Maybe in their office has properties that fit our criteria. And then we want to add this agent to basically our not calling, but like we're adding them to our agent network. So we're going to send them updates. We're going to add them to our mailing list. We're going to give them a call every month to check in and say, hey, like we submitted an offer on your property. Do you have anything else in your pocket right now that that's a fixer up or yada, yada, yada. So we're really looking to not only just tie up properties and acquire fix and flip deals, but we also want to make friends and get agents on our team. Even though we're licensed, we want to do both of those things. So with every single house, we'll look at what can we do. Do we go in with me being an agent that represents the transaction and gets paid, or are we close enough where if I waive my commission, will we tie up that deal? So we're always looking at it from two different points of view, and we'll make those decisions based on each deal. I don't offer up commission right off the bat. I use that as a bargaining chip later down the road because we have enough experience, and I know what's going to take. There's some questions in here that I want to just tackle on here. So how do you deal with being an agent and Fortune Builders member? Well, it's fine. I'm not sure that I understand that. There's nothing, like being an investor is not, it does not, like, there's really nothing that being an investor and an agent, there's no conflict. You just have to disclose this to the seller and the listing agent. That's all you got to do. In the contract, there's always a portion where you can write something in. And all you got to do is say, hey, buyer's agent has an interest in the LLC, or is a president of a corporation, or whatever you might, like, whatever the language that you need to use. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to say when you're buying and when you're selling. Same thing. You're selling a property. You know, sometimes I've had agents say, well, you guys didn't do this, and they start attacking you personally. So at that point, you just have to, you just take a little step back and say, hey, listen, I understand that I'm the seller and that I'm the listing agent. This is a transaction. This is what we did in terms of rehab. This is still an older house. There's going to be things to do. These are the things that we're willing to take care of. These are the things that we're not willing to take care of. So it's up to us to be professionals. You're going to find that, you think real estate agents are professionals. The majority of them do one deal a year. So you have to stand above everybody else, above the fray, and conduct yourself with that higher level of ethics and morals and everything else. Like, raise the level of professionalism in everything that you do. Let's see. How did I pick an RE school to get my license? So there's a couple of different things that I did. I went and networked with a lot of the bigger brokerages, the big names in the community that I was living in. At the time that I got licensed, we were living in Portland, Oregon. So I met a couple of different, I actually basically door knocked to brokerages, talked to their managing brokers, and told them what I was doing, that I was looking to get licensed, that I am an investor. I told them everything that I was looking for, and saw that, I'm like, hey, are you a good fit, blah, 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 blah. So they told me some of the schools that they recommend. I was actually given a coupon. In the market that I was in, Pro Schools was great, and it was an amazing program. In Denver, I would probably still go with Pro Schools, although they're a little bit more expensive. They're very intuitive. So you just have to get boots on the ground, meet some bigger brokerages to start out with to get that good advice, because they're pushing so many people through. And it doesn't mean that you have to hang your license with them, but they're a great resource. So just keep that in mind. You kind of have to put people in, what can I give them? What can they give me? Eventually, you'll be able to give back to their brokerage by saying, hey, Susan, remember me? I'm so-and-so. You helped me out when I was getting licensed. I have a house that's gorgeous, hitting the market. Do you, in your office, have any buyers that would like to preview it before the house hits the market? Like, how amazing is that in a super competitive market where you're calling the brokerage, and then on their meeting they can say, hey, we have somebody who's going to be listing a house. It's not our pocket listing, but they're going to be listing it, and they just gave us, like, who has a buyer that fits this criteria. They're going to love you. If you making that phone call or an email or whatever, just put them on your list, whatever you got to do. So there's ways that we can give back. So don't be afraid to ask for help and take the help that's given to you, because this industry overall, everybody wants to help you, and brokerages, that's their whole, the whole point of them being there is the more people they help, the more they get in return. So it's a give and take, but just don't be shy about it. Okay, so you have a problem where some agents don't want to submit your offer. Totally understand that, and that's why you need to get licensed, period. Every single time that you write an offer, when it gets in front of that agent, it's their duty that they have to present your offer. And there's tricks that there's things that we can talk about, and how you can position yourself and what you can do to differentiate yourself from everybody else that's putting in lower offers. They might have all these higher offers, but are these people actually closing? You might have to do a little bit of research on your side to see, okay, so the last 10 properties that I submitted offers on, did they actually close? And if they did close, what did they close? And then maybe you need to look at even further, 6 months down the road, look at fixer-upper properties. Have they been resold? What's going on? Maybe your math is funky. Maybe there's some lessons to take in that, like finding out what is really going on in the market, or are you just being outbid because you your pricing is not competitive because of the higher interest rates? And then you know, again, being a real estate agent is really going to help that, because now you have an extra 3% or 2.5% that you can play with, that you can pad your profit with. So let's see what else. Are we paying cash? No, we don't pay cash with, we use a hard money lender who is amazing, that we've worked with for the last 5 years. We have great terms. We didn't have these great terms when we started out. We were paying, like one of our first deals, we paid 15% interest, 4 points. Standard was like 2 points and 12 or 14% interest when we started out. We're not paying anywhere near that, but we've also made millions of dollars for our private money investors and our hard money investors. So they like to keep our cash, or they like keep giving us cash. Yes, of course, I'll share everything. Separate, how do I separate the two? What do you mean, John? Separate what two? Not sure. I'll come back to that. Okay, what's my search criteria on the MLS? So I can jump on the MLS and show you guys what I do. So yeah, you're being outbid because of the cost of money. They're paying 4 times more. Your lender. So your lender is actually not bad. 2 and 10 isn't bad, but yeah, it just, we've got to figure out what's going on. Like there's got to be a disconnect somewhere between your numbers. Your numbers might be high for some reason. So that's the part that we've got to iron out. I think for you, the homework will be, take a look at some of the fix and flips that have come back like on the market and resold, and find out what they sold at, like what is going on and how much improvements are these guys putting in. So you can start measuring your numbers to that. Hard money less, low appraisal. So our hard money lender does not do appraisals. We've kind of avoided all of that. None of my hard money lenders have done appraisals in all the 5 years I've been doing this. And yeah, and I think the other piece that helps is that having an agent in the company, I can pull real comps for ARV, and like my stuff is dialed in. We don't overestimate our ARVs. We're very, very conservative in our numbers, and that really makes a huge difference in everything that we do, because we're super conservative. Our guys, if they can't find comps, they usually use Redfin. If they can't find comps, they're going to call me and be like, I need some MLS comps, and I can push that out to them very, very quickly, so they don't have to wait. And we used to put together a whole package for our private money lenders, but they don't require that of us anymore. We just send them basically the address and tell them what we want them to lend, and within 24 hours they turn around and say yes. Sometimes you have to haggle a little bit, but it's, that's part of the deal. Okay. Reach out to the investor and wholesale to them. I'm not sure that I understand that, Seth. So elaborate for me. So your last offer was 104, asking price was 117, and they sold for 450. So that's a huge disconnect. What is the end game for that buyer, John? They're doing something that nobody is really thinking of. Yeah, that's not a fix and flip. So yeah, that's not a fix and flip. I mean, I know a little bit about the Austin market. The price points are different than Denver, but they're very similar in terms of how hot it is. We've consistently, like last year, we did like 80% of our deals came from the MLS. This year it's 50-50 because we've upped our what we're doing for additional marketing. But yeah, so these houses are tear down. So are they able to build more than one house? Are they doing duplexes? Those strategies are completely different than what what you're thinking. So it all depends on what their end game is and what they're able to do. But I would do some serious research on not necessarily a competition, but what are they doing and how are they doing it. So go back and find some fixer-upper or some remodels that sold recently, and then look at through their history and try and figure out, even calling the investors and finding out like how much do they put in there and things like that, to see like what you can do. Yeah. So this has some places when you do when you do 2 units, it does change the game, and then you because you can pay more, because you can basically take a loss on the first one and make money on the second one. So it all depends. Again, it's all a little different. So yeah, so that's a little bit about how we do this. So in the office for Colorado house buyers, they do all the searching. I used to do this when we were just a 2 to 3 man team. I was doing all of this. I was doing the searches every single day. I would have, once I thought something was a great deal, I would send it to my husband and Mark, and we would kind of pow out, do we want to offer right away? This is when we weren't really sure what we were doing. We're kind of still testing things out. But then it evolved into me just being able to pump all the stuff on my own, do the negotiating. The big thing is really consistency, like whatever your timeline is that you can dedicate to this. And I would recommend at least 1 hour a day to actually looking at properties on the MLS. If you are a full-time investor, that's like, to me, that's a minimum to go through everything and be able to follow up and call agents and network with agents. It's a huge system. And really the idea is 50% of your effort is to get a deal. The other 50% of your effort is to make a friend with an agent that's eventually going to call you back and want to work with you with something else. So I'll if I have enough time, I'll show you some of how I run comps on the MLS and what ours looks like. But I'm not sure if I'll have time today, so we might have to jump on another call. So we can do that. Can you outsource the assistant work via Upwork? You know what? We did a lot of outsourcing through Upwork, and long term it never worked out for us. They require a lot of hand-holding, and for me, if I have to hand-hold you that much, it's not worth it, because yeah, I'm just constantly double checking their work. If you can find somebody that does it, all power to you. But for me, and for what we were doing, like, I was really looking forward to just giving it to somebody, and that's what we've done in our business. So, Nikki in our office, she goes and does this 2 to 3 hours a day. Some days it's only an hour, like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is usually like an hour and a half. Thursday and Friday is super heavy because we have a lot of things hitting the market and a lot of things coming back out of contract. The things that we focus on, so I'm going to give you some high-level strategies that we use. We focus on back-on-market price reductions. Those are our money makers. And our strategy is Nikki is the only one touching the agents up until we submit an offer. Once we submit an offer, they're mine. And I follow up with agents depending on the relationship that I've been able to build with them over the phone. I will follow up with them weekly or bi-weekly. And so I track it on my own end. It's not on this sheet. Because I have a different system where I run my transactions through, so it's a lot easier for me to track them there. But it's basically, I just go through until that house sells. I call the agent every single week. We close on 100% of the transactions that we put under contract, 100%. The way we do this, now, there's a caveat to this. So I'm gonna show you guys this. So this might shock you. So this is some of the deals that we've closed on. This column right here, the D column, is the MLS listed price, and this is the MLS sold price. So as you take a look at here, you can see how much of a price difference. Some of these are like this one we bought overpriced, or we bought a little bit over, and there was another one that we bought over asking. So this one we bought over asking. Everything else, like this house, we bought it $225,000 less than what they listed it for. And it's insane. You see these numbers, you're like, what the heck is going on? But this is persistence. This is follow-up. This is us, like, being told no just means not now. That's how I look at it. Somebody tells me my offers were ludicrous and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I totally understand what that I totally understand where you're coming from. If that was my client, if that was my seller, I'd want to get them the most amount of money that you can, and I totally applaud you for that. I know in the investment space, and this is definitely an investment property, that's kind of the stuff that I would tell them. Since this is an investment property, it's going to go to an investor. You're going to have a lot of wholesalers coming up higher, asking you to reduce the price. It might fall out of contract once, twice, 3 times. Maybe it will close at this price. I really hope it does. Right now, I'm just aligning myself with the agent, letting them know I'm really on your side. And then if something goes, if I'm wrong, that's cool. I'm glad you sell it for higher. Perfect, right? They want to sell it for higher. I want them to sell it for higher. I really do. If they can sell it for their seller for more than what I'm asking for, awesome job. Hey, go do your thing. I will find a house that will fit my criteria. We're not going to go outside of what we can offer. What we look at, though, in this MLS offer tracker sheet that was on before, we're looking to be within $50,000 of list price when we're offering. We want to be within $50,000. So, this one is $550. So we can do $500 to $550. So we would offer on this. So when we're like these ones that are where we're within $50,000, we're going to offer that. What we'll do, we'll offer, if they're asking $550 and we can offer $500, that's our top offer, we'll start with $525. I might even start at $515. Then we'll negotiate it up to $525. Then during inspections, we will reduce it down another $25,000 to $30,000. So that's our strategy, is to get close enough within what we are willing to buy it for, and then use the inspection contingency to get the price down where we need it to be. We've been really successful with this, but it's because we're patient. When I'll write the same offer 5 different times, week after week after week, and I will have the same nice conversation with the agent, just keep following up, keep following up, keep following up. They're literally getting beat up by other investors, by wholesalers. They're freaking exhausted. By the time they accept our offer, they're like, yes, we'll reduce the price. Yes, we'll do whatever you want us to do. Just take this house off our hands. Everybody is just thrilled. But that's because we're consistent and we follow up. So don't, Nikki does look at stuff that's coming on the market, but we usually don't offer on those unless they're at least 30 days old. That's the other thing for our business that just makes sense. I will, if it's in an area that we love, we make phone calls. That's why she makes phone calls and she introduces the company and all of that stuff. And, she might even toss out a number. They'll say it's a ludicrous number and they're not going to accept it. And then, we'll just keep following up. But we definitely want to introduce ourselves. We want to start building that relationship, let them know who we are. Somewhere down the road, we might do business together. But I really just wanted you guys to see this about, these houses that we're getting under contract. They are a lot higher. Our strategy is to be within a certain number. And we usually don't even go look at the properties because we have enough inventory and we've done enough homes that I can look at the photos and I can say how much it's going to take in, for that house, that age, that size, all of that stuff just off of the photos. And again, we'll use, if I think that it's something that we need to go look at, we'll go look at it. But usually I'll put a lot of blind offers out there as well. And generally we're pretty close. So why 50,000? It's what I found because I did this research. I found that our average price reduction between list price and what we get it is about 58,000. So when the guys want me to write on a house and I know there's $100,000 spread, that's a very tough sell for me. And I have to have enough information, and I have to get enough motivation from the seller. So I have one house that we're about 100 grand apart, and I'm probably not going to write, if that house doesn't sell until January, then I will write that offer at 100 grand less. I've done it before and I've gotten those price reductions, but it will take a little bit of longer time. So for me to write an offer, we have to be within 50K, and we'll write it 25 lower, and then we'll get another 25. So like it's not exactly 25. So sometimes we'll go a little bit higher. We'll ask a little bit more in price reduction, but we'll get there. And again, I also have some commission to play with. If you take a look at what we're spending on houses, like on average, we're about 500,000 to buy a property, maybe a little bit less, but my commission is 2.8% on the buy side. So what's that, 15 grand, something like that? So there's an extra $15,000 we can play with that I can put back into our business or keep for myself for doing the work. But it helps, right? It helps. So think about those kinds of things. And when we're talking to sellers, this is a great tool that we use as well. When we're talking to sellers that are not listed with an agent, we can show them this sheet right here and be like, okay, so your agent is going to list you at 503. In the end, you're going to sell for 375. You're also going to pay this amount in commission. Like, do you really want to go through this for the next 3 months? And they're like, well, that's not going to happen to me. I'm like, well, it happened to, Joe down the street that, had a house in your neighborhood because they thought that they could sell it for 503. So you got to build a little bit of doubt in the seller's mind and in the agent's mind. But you have to do it in a very, very nice strategic way where you're still aligning yourself with them, but you create enough doubt. I use those strategies because we have a lot of wholesalers in our market, and that's all they do. Like they put a ton of blind offers in, but they don't know how to estimate repairs because they've never done a flip. Now we've done hundreds of flips, and I don't have to go to a house to know that it's going to be $80,000 remodel. I can see from the photos. And if they don't have photos, then we will go down to the house. I ask a lot of questions when I talk to agents so they can tell me what they know. And so, it's really like, again, building those relationships. That's why we have this whole system to talk to the agents, to find out what we can, to find out their motivation, the motivation of the seller, and see where can we fit in. We have a general idea, like we have this system, but we tailor each offer and we do things slightly differently based on the situation. So you're going to have some flexibility, and you'll learn a lot more as you go along. So let me see, what else do you guys have? Offer 3 day. So my strategy is offer on 30 days or more on the MLS, 50 below asking price, that enough to cover costs of money and rehab. So I don't look at it that way. We use the deal analyzer to analyze our profit, and my offer is not like, if I see a purchase price, I'm looking at the difference between my offer and their listing price to be within $50,000. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to be offering on this house because we're $50,000 apart. So I need to offer on it right now. I'm going to offer somewhere in the midline and know that I'm going to ask for a reduction of that much. And 9 out of 10 times I'm going to get that reduction because they're not accepting my offer that's $25,000, $30,000 less than asking right off the bat. They've gone through some bad transactions before they accept my offer. That's basically how we end up getting our properties, is because the sellers and the listing agents, they've accepted those wholesaler offers and they've come out of contract. And they've accepted another one and they've come out of contract. And every single time, like they thought that they can get more, but they can't. So it's finding the right people to work with. The deal analyzer sheet has all of that stuff. Do you have that in the Fortune Builders? You should be able to get it off of the mastery sheet. We just put in what our costs are. We put in like what we resell it for, what our closing costs are. You can talk to the title company what all that stuff is going to cost you, or a lawyer, depending on what type of state you're in. I don't know exactly, but like all of those things we build in. We know how much it's going to cost us for water, energy, all of those things, approximately what our taxes are going to be. So basically we built in those costs into the deal analyzer sheet that gives us our number. So we use the deal analyzer from Fortune Builders to figure out what our number is, based off of what we are going to do and improve, and what off of our ARB. How do I get them to accept the reduced offer? You lost a deal due to the seller backing out after surprises coming during our inspections. So again, we have, so because we have a little bit of history, we have 15 houses in progress. We know what all this stuff costs. My husband is a general contractor. He wasn't a general contractor. Again, he got his general contractor license to help our business. And so he's able to put together bids for things that are wrong with the house. So when we're going to our inspection, we don't hire an inspector. Adam goes to the house and he figures out the items that we're going to be asking for. He puts together bids and we submit all of those things with our inspection objection. Now, the seller at this point has a couple of different options, right? They can say, I'm going to go find a different buyer. The caveat here is once you give them all that information, now they have to disclose that to the next buyer. So usually they've been through a couple of different transactions that have failed. They want to sell this house. They're motivated. We're telling them, listen, like, we're going to close, but I want to close and I want to buy this house, but this house has, like, you have the electrical system out of the 1900s. It's going to burn down. We didn't see that coming out. Like, I walked it. I'm not a contractor. I don't know a junction box from a telephone pole. I knew that, I had to update certain things, but I didn't know that, I have to rewire the whole entire house. That's going to cost $8,000 or whatever it may be. I wasn't on the roof. Your roof is completely rotted. It has to be completely replaced all the way down to the, the boards. So that's $20,000. There's your $20,000. There's your $28,000. Now, usually, he'll pad those. Again, a GC, right? You can add those 20%, so you can pad those numbers. Those aren't going to be the numbers that we're going to pay, but their bid is going to be a little bit more. It would be a bid that is if that homeowner went to get that replaced on his own. That's what the bid looks like. We work with subcontractors. Our prices are better. So when we go in, we're going to give them a bid, and we're going to say, hey, like, we expected to pay a little bit. These bids came in at $28,000. We're asking for $25,000. So there's always like some give and take, and we make it feel like we're still on their side. We want to close. We want to get there. This house is falling apart. You're going to have to deal with this at some point. Work with us here. Let's get this thing closed. Like, it's next week. Like, don't you want your cash next week? So it's using a lot of negotiation strategies to get the listing agents to work for us, to get the seller to really understand that we want to close. And that's the thing that I will harp on. Like, I want to get paid next week. Come on, let's make this happen. We can't pay anymore. Your house is falling apart. We're paying the maximum that we absolutely can. And a lot of times when it comes like push and shove, there's that commission. I'll pitch in $2,000. Hey, listing agent, if I pitch in $2,000, will you pitch in $2,000? And the seller will get what they want, that extra $4,000 or $5,000 that it might be, and let's get this deal closed. Usually, like, using all these different things that we have in our back pocket when we build our, you add things to your toolbox, then you're able to negotiate a little bit more. But you have to be smart, not just looking at things that are coming on the market, but really wait. Like, it's a kind of a long game. You know, you're not just in here. If you're a flipper, you're not in here for just today. If you're going to be flipping, you're here for a long time. If you're a wholesaler, then your game's completely different. And I don't coach wholesalers, but if you're looking to flip, then it's a long-term game, and there's a lot more involved, and you've got to get a lot more education, and you have to be more solid. And a lot of times, even to get our offers accepted, when we're so far apart, I'll submit a whole full itemized repair estimator with our offer and let them know, like, this is the stuff we're going to fix. And I know that I'm going to resell this house for $900,000, but I've got to put in $250,000 so I can resell it at that point. And I will tell the listing agent exactly what we're going to spend. And we will tell the seller, this is what we will make in 9 months down the line. Now, if the market tanks, we're screwed, but you're not, because you got the best price. Now, we know all of this stuff. What did the other offer submit? What do they know? Are you willing to take those risks? So there's so many different things and strategies that you can use to set yourself apart, but you've got to start small. You know, you got to start with those baby steps and build yourself up to be that expert. Align yourself with that listing agent, be on their side. Again, I can't tell you guys enough about getting your license. Just get your license. Yeah, I'll share everything that you guys want in terms of the docs, so don't worry about that. You don't have to screenshot anything, Era. I'll send you guys this. Just send me your email. How do you find listing agents who's on the MLS? Well, every single listing agent is on the MLS. What are you using, John, to look at your deals right now or to search for houses? Is everybody here? So let me see, what else do I have to go over on here? So you have 2 MLSs. So on our MLS, I can see all the contact information for every single agent. So if you have MLS access, you should be able to see who's listing it, what their contact information, all of that stuff is. I'll go through all of this stuff, make sure I haven't missed anything, and I can pull up our MLS. I've got a couple more minutes. Okay, so what do I have here? So we track everything in Google Sheets, as you just saw. We identify a property, we add it to the sheet, we analyze the deal with the desktop analysis of the price, ARV, and estimate those repairs. Again, all of that is done on the desktop. Nikki calls the agent, really 2-point. We want to introduce ourselves, build a relationship with that agent, find out what else they have in their back pocket, find out if there's anybody else in their office that has anything that's similar to this house, because we want to hit it. We want to try and make an offer on a property that they don't have on the market. And then we'll also ask the question, which is something that a lot of agents or a lot of investors forget to ask: do you have a listing that's a stale listing that you can't move? You know, do you have is it almost expired? Do you have a listing that's almost expired? Do you need an offer for a seller that I can help you with? That's something that we ask a lot, and that it just changes the conversation. It's like, how can I get agents to get on my team? What can I do for them? The more I can do for them, the more they're willing to work with me. So yeah, it's going to be a lower offer. They're already aware of that, but can they go and say, hey, Mr. Seller, like, we got an offer, it's lower. You know, I think I can get you your house sold. I know I can get you your house sold, but as you see, we're going to get lower offers. So how about we reduce the price and get a bigger pool of buyers so they can use your lower offer to extend their listing and to get the seller to reduce the price. So now they can sell it and, you know, get their commission. So there's so many different things that you guys can do as you're working with agents to help them out and to get them to remember you. So again, initially as we call the agents, it's just about aligning ourselves, making friends, and finding out the most amount of information we can about the house. Because we want to know, like, what's the seller motivation, what's the agent motivation. I've had some success with getting houses right when they hit the market if there's enough seller motivation and agent motivation, and still, again, get those like 25 to 50,000 off the listing price if there's enough motivation. And the only way I can know that is if we make those phone calls. we wouldn't know otherwise, and we'd be looking at it completely differently. So for example, one of the houses, it was an out-of-state investor. It was a probate case, so there was an estate. She was done, and she just wanted to be out and didn't want to deal with it. The house had a ton of problems, and the agent knew it. So the agent was fully aware. The agent also had a good grasp of what the neighborhood was like, and he knew that, like, he knew his client, and he knew that he had a grasp on his client for a very, very short amount of time because her attention span was short. So he was like, listen, like, these are all the offers. This one's going to be the best, even though they're not the highest, and they're the best because they're going to close. And in this situation, because we knew what the situation was and what their motivation was, we went in hard. We waived all inspections. We looked at the house. We went in hard. There was they provided free and clear title. We were closing in 10 days. And that's exactly what happened. So again, we adjusted based off of the situation that was in front of us. Yeah, that's fine, Kimberly. So not necessarily a formula that I know of, but for me, so title insurance differs based off of the purchase price. Title companies can give you a sheet, John, that tells you like what they estimate the title insurance to be. But you have to also remember there's owner's title insurance, there's lender title insurance. So you're paying for both of those things. So you're going to have to talk to the hard money, private money lender that you're working with, what the title insurance is going to cost for that, what the owner title insurance policy is going to cost when you resell. So you have to calculate both of those things. What's a reasonable commission? So if you have your license, you don't have to pay yourself when you're reselling it. You're also going to get some money. So, and if you don't have that, how much is that going to cost you? Can you work out a deal with an agent to sell it at a reduced commission? I highly recommend that you try and find a really solid agent and still pay them as you're going through initially, if you can, rather than using like one of those flat fee things. I hate those things. They just don't do a great job. But that's just my personal opinion. It's by no means like I'm sure that you can sell a house with anybody. So I don't like to share this because it's a little different for everybody, but what we found is a real rough estimate for us is we take the ARV, sorry, I should probably say the question. So John's asking if there's a formula, like a Mayo formula, that you can quickly calculate your cost and all of that stuff so you know what you offer. So this is what we do. And this works for us because of how our business works and because of like what our commissions are and all that stuff. And it's a very rough number. So if I'm looking at a house and I know that, let's say ARV is 800,000, my repairs are going to be 80,000. This is what we do. We take 800, then we go, we'll take 80% of that or 90% of that. I'm ending a calculator. Excuse me, because my math's bad. So I'm going to put this in. So we'll do 800,000 times 90%. Apparently I can't type. So, that's 720. I should have known that. Then if my repairs are 80,000, I'm going to minus my repairs. That puts me at 640. For us, for this type of a deal, my minimum that I'm going to want to make is another 80. So I'm going to minus another 80. So my maximum allowable offer that I would want to make is 560. Now this is going to depend a little bit, and I'm going to want to put this in a detailed deal analyzer that's going to give it to a minutia, but that's my rough numbers. If my ARV is 800, I take, my cost is generally 10%. For holding costs, points, all of that stuff is 10% of ARV. And then I'll take what do I want to make and what is my rehab, and that gives me a general number. That's the biggest, like, you know, the simplest formula that I can give you. But So I don't even remember what the Mayo is, to be honest. This is just something that after 5 years in business, analysis of our deals this is rough. It's super rough, but it's close enough. When I'm trying to make an offer, I need to make a quick offer and I have a contingency, then that's what I can use if I don't have access to the deal analyzer and I need to make a quick offer. 80% of mail, so ARV. Yeah. So I take my ARV, like 90% of ARV minus my repairs minus what I want to make, and that's my maximum allowable offer. So it depends on, is it 80%? I don't know. So yeah, not a problem. Thanks, Seth. You go ahead and run. Hopefully it was valuable to you. All right, let me see what else I want to go through here. So as I said, we don't always go to the property. Sometimes a lot of times we'll just look at it and submit an offer without going to the property. If it's something that's pretty close, then we will take the time to go to the property and confirm our repairs. But because a lot of the times we have to ask for this price reduction, it doesn't really, as long as we're pretty close, and now with all, hundreds of deals in, we're generally really close on our repairs. We don't have to go in there until after, when we're doing our actual inspections. Then we'll write our offers, we'll submit our offers, we'll follow up with the agent, and our offers don't get accepted. Majority of the time, we do not get our offer accepted on the first time. Sometimes it takes like 5 different times. So what happens next? We set up a follow-up system. As I said, Nikki follows up all the way up until we submit offers. So she'll put something on our sheet because it just hit the market and it's a house that we like, but we're not going to do anything with it because we're so far apart. And so she will be watching that house. Is it going to go out of contract? Is it going to fall back out? As soon as it falls out of contract, we're on it. So our strategy is, as soon as it fell out once, we're hopping on that house. And she will keep it on the list until it's sold. Once it sells, she takes it off the list. Anything that we've submitted offers on, I track that separately so I can report on. So we can see at the end, how far were we on the houses that we submitted offers. So that's my job. So we've kind of divided it up on who's doing what. Again, all of that used to be in my bucket. Now it's just split up. So we set up a follow-up system with the agent. I always call and talk about how's the contract going. Do they have any other houses? Some of the other stuff that we've talked about already. When the property's sold, I just call the agent basically to check in and see what's going on. Hey, it's Enos. Just want to check in. I submitted an offer on your house a couple months ago. Saw that went well. What else you got going on? Are you looking for open houses, or what can I do to help your business? Just making friends. And then again, every time the property falls out of contract, we reach out and we want to be their friends. So that's what we're doing. Some tips on getting your offers accepted. Confidence is so important. I know it's really hard when you're just starting out. So just pep talk yourself, do what you have to do, but stay confident. Your offer is the right one. You can do so many different things to educate yourself, but be confident in what the offers that you're making. If your offers are too low, then you have to find out what are the other investors that are buying these houses, what are they doing with them, what's their end game. And don't be afraid to call up. Once you see it closes, call that company and say, hey, I wanted to buy that house and I submitted an offer. Obviously I lost, but my numbers are so off. What are you doing with this house? Ask them the questions. 9 out of 10 times they're going to answer you. If somebody called me and asked me, I would totally be like, let's meet for lunch. I'm going to show you what I do. To me, it's ridiculous if somebody doesn't want to share. That's lack of abundance. I'm never going to be successful if I have lack of abundance. I know that the universe wants to gift me with just everything that I want. So that's how I go with, and that's how I treat other people. But you have to get the market knowledge where you're buying, so you can be successful. So that's that's why the MLS is, again, so important. Again, consistency. So one of the other things that I see with a lot of investors is they get a house and now they drop all of this stuff because now you're so busy fixing and managing contractors and all this stuff. So make sure that, like, if your plan is to you do one house at a time, get on the MLS once a week then and look at it for 2 hours. Sunday, Saturday, whatever it might be, but put it in your calendar so you're in there. And the importance of this is not just to get an offer accepted, but it's to still be communicating with agents, because you never know when that perfect one is going to come by, because you might be working on a house and an agent might call you with an off-market property and it's perfect, and you could wholesale it and make $5,000, and now you've got an extra little, something in your pocket. So you never know. So just keep up with the system so you are always in the groove, and schedule the amount of time that that you can be consistent with it. I already talked about this, but analyze your sold houses, like the stuff that you've already submitted on. So analyze the list price versus sold price versus resold price, all of that stuff. So take the stuff high level, work backwards to figure out what are the investors doing and how are they coming up with their offers. Track everything, analyze, and then adjust your plans. So that's what we do. I'm going to go through the chat and see if there's any other questions. So we've not looked at any of this, what you're asking. So you've asked, have you considered building a part of your business that negotiates for Fortune Builder students for, I'm assuming it's a price or charge commission or fee or JV. We've done investing in other states because our business is purchase price. Because our business is like to this extent, we're all so busy. We're looking at potentially doing down the road more mentoring and things like that for flippers, specifically for people who wanting to flip, to help them get their business to where they want to do. But I don't know that that's more of a pipe dream at this point. We're just wanting to share what we know and help people succeed. And if we can, answer your questions, feel free to contact me at any time. But yeah, that's not something that we've done. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, John. Any other questions, guys? So I think everybody has said, send me their email. So I'll go through the chat and keep all the emails, and I'll share, give you guys what we have so you can have an idea of what it looks like. And if you have any other questions, it'll have my email. You can definitely reach out, send me a message via Facebook, whatever works. How to run comps and use the MLS keywords. So yeah, I can set up a time. Let me look at my calendar. Maybe we can do something next week and I can show you what my MLS looks like and what I do. I do things very differently than everybody else because we're constantly on the MLS. So I don't send searches to myself. I just go in there and I look very specific to, what we're looking for. And I'm very heavily on the areas that we're looking to buy in. So I have it's a quick system. Like Nikki will spend a lot more time in there. I will go very quickly, and within, 15, 20 minutes, I'll go through, identify the properties, I'll copy and paste the addresses, and then I'll go and run ARVs and things like that. So mine's a little different, but yeah, I can set up a time sometime next week and go through how I look at MLS and how I estimate ARVs, and I look at a house and tell you what I think it's going to cost me, and take it from there. So that's not a problem. I'll schedule it in. We can do this. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time, and I like doing this, so hopefully you guys got something out of it. If you have any additional questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to share.
Yes, I want to thank you for your time. It's been very, very illuminating, at least for myself. Is you shared what's working for you, and I think that you have something that works for you, and you can learn it, then I can apply it here. Just, if it works for you, why shouldn't it work for me?
Definitely. It will work for you. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And I know you're fairly new. So I think the biggest things for you to take away, I really, really hope everybody goes out there and gets licensed. I'm going to harp on this, and I tell this to any investor who's looking to be a fix and flipper, especially full time. You need to be licensed. It's an edge. It's a complete game changer. Like this year, our company, we're going to be over $15 million in that I've sold. So there's some deals that they've done where they didn't involve me at all. So they're going to be probably closer to 20, but $15 million that have gone through my brokerage. If you take a look at that, that's at 2%, minimum 2% commission payout. That's 300,000. Now, I'm not making 300 grand extra because I'm giving a lot of it back into the business, but I'm making 6 figures every single year doing what I love, supporting our business. And I have for I don't know how many years. So having your real estate license is an asset. You shouldn't be doing this without it. And nobody tells you this. Unfortunately, I think it's a major miss because it's so scary for a lot of people. They think it's such a big roadblock. It is not. It is easy. It's different. There's a lot of legal jargon. There's some stuff that you're going to have to go and learn, but just put just go determine, just go get it. Figure out what it's going to take for you to do it, but just do it and don't put it off. It's a game changer for your business.
I was looking at it, but what got me confused is there's 4 different types. One is like 600, that one's 900, that one's 1500, that one's 2500. But they kept adding stuff, and I said, which one should I pick? Because I have no clue which one should I start with.
So I would, as I said, because I don't know your market, I don't know. When I did it, I did some online research and a couple of different things came up. As I said, Pro Schools was the most expensive. And then I went to a Keller Williams. I went to John L. Scott, which is a big one in Portland. So I went to a couple of the bigger brokerages. I connected with the managing brokers, told them what I was doing, took their advice, and, set aside a time that I'm going to meet with them when I'm close to, once I have that license done, I'm going to come and meet with you to potentially come and hang my license in your office. So that's their job. Their job is to meet with people. And they gave me those, the options, and one gave me $100 off coupon for Pro Schools. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went with Pro Schools, a great program. And for Pro Schools, and I don't know what's in your market, but again, talking to some of the brokers might help. Pro Schools in Oregon, they actually make all the tests for the real estate testing place. So their entire program basically makes you ready for that test. And it was so easy because as I was learning it, as I was going through that whole week that I immersed myself in it, I was able to give myself an edge over somebody else that was taking somebody else's program. And I didn't know that when I started, but I did know that by networking with the managing brokers, and they were able to tell me because one knew that that's what they do, that they write all the tests for them and that it makes it easier. So I went with them. A lot of times, what the differentiators are, you might get books, you might get additional support, different programs offer different things. I chose just the online version, and you have to figure out what works for you and your learning style. But I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm saying Pro Schools.
Yeah, I was looking at championschool.com.
Mm-hmm.
I did ask at a local RIA meeting, and they're studying there, but like I said, they have different six course program and exam prep, and 9 course program for exam prep, and 18-hour Texas CE program online. So it goes from 600 all the way to 2,500.
What I would do is I would go meet with a couple of different managing brokers of some bigger brokerages, tell them that you're interested in getting licensed, you're a real estate investor, you want to take your business to the next level, you understand that you need a license for it. And, you know, I'm looking to see what your brokerage offers. And I wanted to, you know, as you have hundreds of brokers in your office, who do you recommend? Which school do you recommend? What's the program? And, you know, go through all of that. That's what I would do. It's a couple hours of your time, go make some friends and meet some people face to face. Let them know what you do, what you're looking for as well. So you never know, they might, you know, say, hey, if you guys have any deals that you're looking, like, I would love to be added to your list as well. So it's like a multi-layered meeting. Like, I can do, you know, I can buy houses from you if you guys have something that's not moving, that fits my criteria. You know, keep me in mind. And again, I'm looking to get licensed. Love to hear what you have to recommend, that kind of stuff. So I think that would be really helpful. Getting licensed is massive. It's going to change your business. So those are the things that I would start with. And I'm happy to go over the MLS searches and what I do. So.
Well, again, I want to thank you for your time. It's been
Anytime, guys.
Awesome. I guess you can contact us. When you'll be available.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna I have everybody's email address that was on here for sure. I think I may have, this thing may have recorded too. I'm not sure. So if it has recorded and other mastery students want to listen in, I might probably share. So I'll let you guys know if it did record. I have no idea. As I said, it's been a little while since I attend a lot of Zoom calls, but I don't I haven't held one on my own. I've done some other stuff. So
my ancestry recording, so it's probably
awesome.
Thank you very much.
You guys are welcome. Have a great day. Okay.
Thank you to everybody else that also tuned in to Facebook and
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.